Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so my boy Abdul, who I always trust with Laker information, he knows a lot of people around the way inside the Laker organization and around who know that kind of thing. He said the Lakers are having a change of heart in regards to trading D'Lo for Murray. They're just not feeling it the way that they were. Now that D'Lo's playing the way that he is, and I mean, I understand it, man. I understand it. I was listening to DTLF say that he has changed his mind after the game before last. I wasn't there. And, I look at things in a bigger picture way. If D'Lo is playing well, then the chances of him opting out to get a better deal are higher. So you probably are more likely to want to not have to go through that with him if he's playing well. You'd probably rather change your mind if he's playing like dog crap if you are so intent on him not opting out, because he's more likely to not opt out if he thinks he's going to get less on the market than what he's worth. But this guy looks like he wants to be a Laker really bad, man. And if he wants to be a Laker really bad, then him opting out may not happen. Maybe you jump the gun, trade him, and then find out he only wanted to be a Laker all along. I don't know. There's no way of really knowing unless you're in there with him, and you know things can change. Even if guys make their mind up, there's a lot can happen between now and the end of the season. At the end of the day, the way he's playing, you got to value him really, really high at $17 million. If he's going to play like this, he's probably worth, he might be worth $30 million if he's playing like this, to be honest with you. But nevertheless, if you can get him at 17, that's crazy. And that's the point. It's like, because he may be worth $25, $30 million, why would he opt in? Why would he opt in? And that's what it really comes down to. If you think the rental is worth it because he's playing so well and you expect him to continue to play this way, he's finding his footing. The Vando piece makes it so that his defensive circumstances are not as bad. Maybe you can get another Vando-like piece. Maybe you can go for Bruce Brown, but I don't think you can get Bruce Brown without throwing in D'Lo. So for me, it's like I'm not really certain it's possible to really say that you're gonna cover all bases if you're a Laker fan. You're kind of just signing up for the lesser of two evils type of thing. And so for me, as a Laker fan, I think it's going to be all right if we don't trade D'Lo and make other moves. Because if we make other moves and still find pieces that can help defensively with the D'Lo-Austin backcourt, then what we're probably going to find out is that we want D'Lo and Austin on the floor for a good 30 minutes apiece. If your Vando piece can stay down there with them, you saw against a team like Golden State, you didn't have as much trouble. Now, the question for the Lakers is, do we have enough defensive presence athletically to compete with teams like Sacramento, Oklahoma City, Philadelphia, and anybody else that has speedy, athletic point guard? Because at the end of the day, going up against the Golden State Warriors still did not quite simulate that type of thing. They don't have that piece. They got Steph Curry, who wants to hover around the perimeter, run all over screens and stuff like that. So you get a little bit of that. But that dribble penetration monster that those players are, you still haven't found a way to duplicate what you're going to need. Now, I got a solution for the Lakers that may be interesting, but I don't know if we're going to like the price tag on the player. Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell is on the trade block. I think he could be somebody who can help with that. Maybe you want him playing the Cam Reddish role. Obviously, he's not the answer at the 2 or the 1. But maybe you have him in as a defensive stopper for guys like De'Aaron Fox. I can't think of somebody I'd rather put on De'Aaron Fox than the person who's been guarding him in practice for the last 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And if his price tag's going to be low because he's not necessarily panning out as a 7th or 8th overall pick, whatever he was a couple years back, then maybe this is the year to try to trade for him. So I don't know that that's necessarily the piece that's an answer for me. But he is somebody I'd love to bring to our situation. And he is somebody who could double or triple in value from here because he's still developing. And so he's one of the best on-ball defenders on the planet, even though he has more developing to do on that side of the ball too. In the big leagues, ultimately, he could be somebody that you really, really love in that situation. You don't want to over and triple down on defense necessarily because we do have too many one-way players, and he would probably, in theory, be another one. I don't know that his offensive shot selection and things like that are advanced in a way that makes you feel good. But he is still a high-level player who was in the lottery several years ago happened to get drafted to the wrong team and hasn't had a chance to show what he can really do. You kind of want to buy low on people like that. I think of people like Kobe White, who is kind of, Kobe White was in the position that Davion Mitchell was in, but like 2 years ago. Kobe White was still on the bench. He'd come in once in a while, but most of the time he was just averaging 6 points. Didn't look like he was going to really turn into nothing. And then boom, look where he's at right now. I could argue he should be an all-star reserve this year, logging more minutes than any other player in the league this season. So Davion Mitchell's kind of one of those buy low guys that I think still has enough upside to feel extremely excited about. Even if I don't think he's going to turn into an all-star, I still think he can turn into a top 15 defender in basketball at some point. And so for me, when I think about, okay, I can't get DeJounte Murray, but maybe I can get Davion Mitchell at a much lesser trade rate. Maybe I can trade away some things that aren't necessarily needed and entice Sacramento to possibly move on from Davion and send him my way. So that's something I've been thinking about for the last couple of days. As I said, he's not the greatest fit because he is a smaller guy, point guard probably. But I think if you get him in here, he can overachieve offensively and still be a monster defensively. You know, that's what it really comes down to. He can do some things offensively. He can get streaky. He can hit shots. And if he continues to develop his offensive game, you never know how high his ceiling can really go. So he's athletic. He's very strong. Lower body strength is there. I'm excited about Davion Mitchell's future if he goes to the right place. But I don't think he's a starting point guard or a starting shooting guard. He's your first guy off the bench that you put in lineups that have D'Lo in it, that have Austin in it. That's who he is. So I think he could be a real asset to the LA Lakers, short term and long term, if for some reason they want to pivot away from DeJounte Murray and not move on from D'Lo. I think that piece, because he's the kind of guy where his upside is such that if D'Lo goes away, you still feel really good about him possibly developing into that starting point guard. You know what I mean? I think I like him more than I like Jalen Hood-Schifino, to be completely honest with you. I think I do like Davion Mitchell more than I like Jalen Hood-Schifino long term. So these are the type of things that you just consider. Two different players. Obviously, you're not comparing them. But just in terms of fast-footed, defensive dynamos, guys who, if he continues to stay in the type of shape that is his best, he would likely be able to lock down literally anybody. They call him off night because everybody who he goes up against has an off night, but he just hasn't had a chance to have those minutes. And so I think the Los Angeles Lakers would be a very intriguing place for his next stop. And I hope the Lakers decide to inquire on this player. I think they'll be happy they did long term, especially since we got Vando for multiple years. You keep him and Vando down there, even if you lose some of these other players that we like on defense, you still have him down there. And just the overall defensive talent goes into the cosmos, man, when you add a defensive-minded, capable kind of guy like that to your situation. So, yeah, man, Davion Mitchell, that's an option that I think the Lakers could consider pivoting toward if DeJounte Murray is somebody that's going to be a little too expensive for us at this point. Different role. You don't want him to be DeJounte, but somebody you can look at. So, yeah, man. Also, I've listened to people talk about Bruce Brown in regards to what his fit would look like with the Lakers, and I like what he looks like at a decent price, but I don't think him at $22 million is something I have any interest in at all, to be honest. But from a basketball standpoint, listening to others talk about the versatility of the player, the fact that he can play small ball 5, as I didn't realize he was asked to do in Brooklyn. He does have some high-level talent, man. I don't think he has all-star upside at all, but I don't think he's too far away from being somebody who can teeter on being someone with all-star upside every year. Meaning, if you give him a lot of minutes, you can get a lot of production out of him. He can do extreme things like hit a lot of three-point shots when he's hot, get into the paint, score a lot, defend your best player. He's a very talented player with a lot of size. And so, along the lines of Davion Mitchell, he's also somebody that I understand why people want to bring in, because he can defend, and you can use him at the 3, 2, 1, 4, 5, all the positions. That kind of scares me when you consider Darvin Ham and what he's willing to do positionally with players, putting them in positions to dare I say, be out of position. But all in all, I think you could be really happy with Bruce Brown, especially if you're able to keep D'Lo without moving. Without moving D'Lo, you can probably bring in Bruce Brown. He makes a lot more sense in my mind. Excuse me. And also, I like Austin Reeves a lot, man. But some of these pieces that we want, they're really about making it so that D'Lo and Austin fit together. Even the Vando piece, you can't really use Torian because you want to use Austin a lot. You can't be so intent on being upset at other people's weaknesses for not being able to mask his. When you think about the argument against Torian Prince, you think about why Vanderbilt is so necessary, you think about why we need to move on from D'Lo. If I'm being completely honest with you, it's because we want him on the floor, and he has certain weaknesses that need to be masked. At some point in time, and this is coming from an Austin fan, we have to acknowledge that we are putting a lot of emphasis on other people to cover up his mistakes, as opposed to removing his mistakes from the situation. And I like Austin, and I think he can be a fantastic player. But there has to be some balance, even from within myself, to say, if I got a problem with all these people's problems, would it not be fair for me to also have problems with Austin Reeves' problems? Because he has problems and they need to be masked. And a lot of times we run into trouble because we're trying to mask those. I want Austin to put on some upper body strength. I want him to hit the weight room in a different way. I want him to start eating a little more. I want him to get heavier. Because he may not be faster, but he may not be able to get faster. But he can sure as hell get stronger. And that's what I want him to do. I want him to get stronger. In fact, I want everybody to a degree, even D'Lo. I want these dudes to start taking on more strength training. Because at the end of the day, if your conditioning is up and your strength is up, you're going to get the most out of your body. Guys that excite us the most, are dudes that can really put forth speed with strength. If you're lacking in those areas, other people got to make up for your mistakes and up for that for which you lack, and that can be a bit of a headache when trying to build a basketball team, especially if the team is not overly talented. I need Austin Reeves to put on some weight, and I need him to do it while the season's going on. I tell y'all what I do push-ups every day. On top of anything and everything else I do, I'm doing push-ups 4 and 5, 6 sets a day, building my way up from 20 all the way to where I'm at is almost 100 every time I get down there. That's what I want Austin to do. On top of everything else he does on his own damn time, you need to be doing push-ups, bro. Get stronger. Get stronger, because at the end of the day, it does become a frustrating thing when trying to bring about the balance of what our problems are when you consider the fact that he's lacking in strength and speed. It's like, damn it, if he just had strength and speed, we wouldn't need to have Torian Prince sit down in certain lineups. You know what I mean? We could let Garvin Ham run Torian a million minutes a game, and it won't be to our detriment. We could not have D'Lo be so damn expendable and be looking at D'Lo like, why can't you do this, that, and the third? Because we want to give Austin an opportunity to be himself without asking him to be different. A lot of Laker fans are tired of that. I'm one of them now. I want Austin to deficiencies or what have you to be considered just like we consider anybody else's, and I don't think that I've done the greatest job of that on this channel. So that's what I'm saying, man. We favor Austin. We like him for a million reasons, but it does become a problem when you start realizing that a lot of the stuff that's wrong with your team has to do with his deficiencies and your unwillingness to remove him from the equation. And I don't think anybody can deny that at all at this point. So just like everybody else needs to work on themselves or get the hell out of here, of course he does as well. And so that's really what it is, man. He had a good game last night, but he also got cooked a lot. You know what I mean? So it just becomes a situation where you start getting a little hopeless about the Austin future as it pertains to, are we ever going to just not have him be a deficiency in certain areas that otherwise make it so that we got to handpick certain players to make sure that they fit with him? And I don't know that the answer is yes. I don't know that. Gotta bring Bruce Brown to you so Austin can have. Gotta have Vando on the floor so that Austin can have. Gotta move D'Lo out of the starting lineup so Austin can have. It gets to a point where it's like, yo, what the hell are we doing? What is that? What is that really about? And do we have any of those problems if Austin's not there? That is a real question. That is a real question that I'm forced to ask at this point. So yeah, man, that's what I want to see. Guys, work on their weaknesses and us to find some balance in regards to how much we favor certain players over others and how much we're willing to point the finger at other guys for not being able to make up for other guys' mistakes. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, man. That's pretty much the end of this video. I'll get myself in the shower. I'm not doing none of those squats today. I'm too damn tired. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna get back to that tomorrow. Do Bible study with the family, do all the good stuff that I do. I encourage everybody to check out all my videos that I've left here, man. We're so happy that the Lakers beat the Warriors last night. Overtime, double overtime by 1 point. And you know what I mean? A lot of what went right was because Vando and D'Lo did a fantastic job out there masking Austin's mistakes. Now, honestly, and Torian didn't. That literally had a lot to do with how that game turned as it did. And like I said, I'm an Austin fan, so it's a little tough for me, but you know, it just gets to a point where it's like, yo, what is it that I need, and why do I need that? And it always comes back to Austin and D'Lo backcourts being bad defensively, but D'Lo defensively ain't that bad. So it's like, okay, well, I'm being a little biased here myself, man. I need to reel it in and tell the truth. So that's what I've done here. BDL 44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.